What's up, everybody? Welcome to Press Pass Live, a brand new outlay. We hope that you guys love what we're trying to do. We're just trying to mix it up. And if you look to my left here, you're going to see three beautiful faces. That's right, we're trying some video now. Granted, I'm telling you right up front, we are working on some audio issues. I think we may have had those figured out. And you're gonna see not the best video in the whole wide world because I'm running all of this off of a Mac computer, and my poor little Mac is working its tail off as hard as it possibly can here. But we're trying some new stuff and we're trying to do some new things. So let me welcome in my three co-hosts. The whole gang is back together after a very long absence. We got Dwayne, Maniac, and Dawson. Fellas, how are we doing this morning?
Pretty good.
Great.
Dawson, we are rocking the suit and the tie. We are looking good.
Yeah, I thought we was all wearing a suit, but I guess I missed that one. I'll let you know.
Spiffy.
We're rocking the the Seattle Mariners hat, not the Seahawks hat. Same city, different team, but I had to change over to my Astros hat once I seen the Mariners hat take a breakaway. If you guys could do me a favor and start losing some of these one-run games, we'd like to run away with this division if you'd let us.
The only thing keeping us in there, Nate. The only thing keeping us in there is them crazy Astros.
Maniac, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great, man.
It's good to have everybody back together. I'm sorry.
I'm not rocking a team hat, a Superman. I got Superman on, so what better than the Man of Steel, you know? So
I am with you there. Let's talk about the playoffs and talk about where we are here. Again, my computer's a little bogged down here, so this thing may be a little slow to respond. Look, we'll get this thing figured out here. We're just trying to do some new stuff for you guys here. But let's talk about the playoffs. This thing's kind of bogged down a little bit, but we kind of are allowing it. This is our last season. There just isn't enough time to get another season in. We have the OMFL too for guys who want to go continue to play. I think they're going to go all the way up to the release. We still have the coach mode that's going. So there's other options if you want to go all the way up to the release. But I know some guys did want a little bit of a break here. You're going to get about 4 weeks or so. There's still plenty to do. I took a two-day work week vacation where I just worked Monday and Tuesday, and the rest of this time I've spent just getting us ready for the transition for Madden 19. Bill and Dwayne and I got on the mic the other night. They were the only two that were, or three, I should say, that were around, and we just talked some Madden 19 and kind of where we are. So there's been some guys that have been gone, and we're kind of allowing that. We did not want to sim any games, especially this being the last season. It makes no sense to rush through the playoffs and wait, or just wait and wait. So we might as well just wait and wait. So hopefully I think some of those games will start picking up tonight. What has been the biggest surprise up to this point? My predictions are completely out of the window. D-Money was away on vacation. I think his game was a computer game, even though I think the computer did win. So maybe my predictions aren't out the window, but I don't know if he's going to make it back in time. What do you guys think about the playoffs and the matchups that we have left? And since you guys weren't on the show, how do you see this playing out as we go all the way through for season 79?
Yeah, the playoffs was not to me. I kind of predict the same teams to be there, right there, in the beginning. The Raiders and Jets that started off in the wild card round, and I was predicting, Bowles, grab his the playoff win, and not sure if he won any playoff wins this cycle or not, but he's been in the mix the whole. I was thinking it was going to be his year. He blew me out of the water throughout the season. So I was, that's one I guess I was surprised at was with the Jets being out majority of the season, just coming in and just getting things moment, and he like he did last year. So that's not necessarily a surprise on the way he's been playing. And then Bears Outlaw, he's been gone majority of the season, but he squeaked in the playoffs. I think this is his first time making playoffs this year or this cycle. So I mean, good for him for making it. Kind of the way he got in, the way we did the Sims and all Madden settings. But he got in nonetheless. And he lost to Pepper and the Giants in the wild card, and it was Titans and Colts. That was a surprise. I think Colts. He's been out for last week, and he let Jason and his Titans play the computer. And the way that the computer plays and all that, you can't play. I'm not sure exactly what all happened, but sometimes the computer, goes 4-20 throughout the game, and then other times they go 18-20.
Yeah.
So you just never know what kind of quarterback is actually will actually be there, for the computer. But it kind of sucks no losing is what it is. And then the Colts moved on. And then Panthers Redskins. That was a good game. I didn't catch all of it, but the last score it was ended up being 37-17 Redskins. I figured Colin had everything, had his things worked out, and was ready to roll in the playoffs. But it seemed like Big Hurt came in and got the upset. But overall, as far as the playoffs, the rest of the playoffs, I know I always go for the Falcons in the NFC, and Mo, that was a good game. I watched the tail end of it, and I'll let Dakota talk more about that on his game. Right now, we're waiting for the AFC Championship game, Jets and the Dolphins, Kevin. I think we're supposed to play either tonight or Monday. So I feel like that's going to be a pretty good game. And then be interesting to see if be another matchup from last season, or if Kevin can get the upset and make it to the OMFL Bowl.
Maniac, what do you think about the playoffs so far?
The playoffs have been pretty good, to be honest. I mean, there's been a lot of good games. I really was expecting Outlaw to make a little bit of noise and stuff, but Pepper took care of him in the wild card round. Sorry. The one thing that I did predict, though, was I did predict that the Jets and the Dolphins were going to go in the AFC, and that prediction did come true. And actually have them in the AFC Championship playing each other is pretty amazing, especially since they've already faced each other twice in the same division. These two know each other, and they've played each other really, really close in the two games that they've played. It's been a really big time battle, and I think that game is going to be one to watch. The big surprise in the playoffs was that our Bengals and Cincy did not make it. He was actually my prediction to go on the AFC side to verse Mo again in the Super Bowl, and I only got half of that right. Mo Daly over there with the Jets, he's something else with his team and stuff. He's got those Jets moving, so it's really going to be really down to those. This game, to me, I think this game is going to be more entertaining with the AFC side on the championship than maybe possibly the Super Bowl. It just depends on who goes. I think Mo's probably going to run away with the Super Bowl, to be honest. But
which Mo? We're talking about the Seahawks
stuff.
Mo or the Jets Mo?
Seahawks Mo. And I guess I could cover my tracks and just say the Mo versus Mo, and Mo's going to run away with it. So.
Dwayne, what do you think about these playoffs? Everything got real quiet. We got to work on our timing. It's been a while since we've all been back together again.
Right.
Well, they covered a lot of it. The wild card round. Honestly, I know Mo Daly. I had a lot of faith in him. The run he made last season. But I actually had the Raiders beating him in the first round.
Yeah.
That shocked me a little bit. I had a lot of faith in the Raiders. I've watched him quite a bit with Dawson being in that division all year. I've watched a lot. So I was kind of, I wouldn't say shocked. I had picked the Raiders to come out of that one with a win. And as you can see, Mo Daly escaped with the 3-point victory. I agree with Maniac on that one. I thought Outlaw would make a bigger splash, per se, in the playoffs. He did win some of his usual games he played this year. And he wanted to let you know that he won some of his usual games that he played. And I thought he would give Pepper a bigger fight. But Pepper came in and took care of business and showed that he deserved to be in the playoffs. As you go down to Colts and Titans, I was kind of like with y'all, before the playoffs started on the Colts team, um, we thought they were going to make a splash in the playoffs. Being a new team, being a new owner, with the proven track record behind him, I thought he would come in the playoffs and make a splash. Unfortunately, he couldn't make the playoffs. But his computer did well in the first round for him. The computer took care of Houston and the Titans, which are a tough team.
Yeah.
Always a tough team in that crazy AFC South division. Then you go down to Panthers and Redskins, and this is jump out to me in that wild card round.
Did we lose him? I think we might have lost him.
His feed's frozen.
Yeah, I think we might have lost him for a second. Hopefully he'll bounce back because he's up in Arkansas. So, Dawson, go run over there and help him out, man. Give him back his internet. He might be trying to steal it from you. So when he comes back, we'll get his kind of final thoughts. So give me your predictions. Who makes it all the way? Who's in our OMFL Bowl for season 79? And who wins it? Wait, he's back. D-Wayne, finish your thoughts. We lost you for a second.
He's back.
I was talking, it all just went crazy. I don't know where I left off at before it completely cut out. I think maybe I was did I jump on the Panthers and
you were just
Redskins.
I think you were just you were just getting there.
Yeah, that was just a big surprise to me. I thought Colin would make a bigger splash. After having such a good season that he had, I thought he would do. I thought this was his year to make a run in the playoffs, and he just ran into a big hurt. I mean, literally ran into a big hurt.
Yeah.
And the Redskins were a solid team. No matter what team you give him, it's competitive on any day. And that's what he ran into. And then you go to the next round. I think the Giants played the Seahawks, if I'm not mistaken. And I think if any of y'all watched that game, the Seahawks were on the ropes early. The Giants had him on the ropes early. Pepper was playing really good. He had Mo where he wanted him at, and he just left the door open just a crack. And Mo, he can't have a crack. You can't give Mo anything. And Mo took it, and Mo ran with it. And that game ended up being a 34-22, which is the score really doesn't show how close that game really was. I know Jameis Winston got knocked out early in that game, which really changed the tide. And then you go down to the Colts and Dolphins game, with him playing the CPU Colts. I do think if the owner was there, this is a different story. Not saying it's a different outcome, but it's a lot closer game. But Kevin had to take care of business, and you can't take the computer lightly. And you still got to, pat him on the back on taking care of that computer because a lot of teams haven't handled the computer well this year. You go down to the Falcons-Redskins game. I haven't had a game like that in a long time where everything just went 100% right. Every hole was, as Nate would say, they were just huge running through.
Yeah.
Hurt just didn't have a chance after that. He had 2 turnovers real early in that game that just set him back and took him out of his rhythm. You go to the Jets and Bengals game, which was a highly anticipated game. If any of y'all remember last postseasons, just the drama that surrounded that game. I was really looking forward to this one, and I got to catch 2/3 of it, and the Jets come out with another close victory,
which is amazing. He's beat the Bengals. Yeah, I'm sorry. He's beat the Bengals 2 seasons in a row, which is that hasn't happened since Madden 16.
It hasn't, and I think if any of us, in the back of our head, didn't have the Bengals as the AFC, pick from all of us, we're lying just a little bit to ourselves. Just because we all know how Cincy is, but Mo Deli has Cincy's number, and I don't know if it's just they play so similar. That I've always said when I played Mo, Mo plays almost the exact same style, just better than I do. And so I think that's what you look at with Mo Deli, and that one is Mo just has Cincy's number, and I think it's just a little bit of a head game right there. And then you go to the conference round, which we know the Jets and Dolphins haven't played yet. That will be a fun game to watch. The Falcons and Seahawks. I don't break too much on it. My heart still hurts. But it was a really good game. The Falcons did have a chance to extend that. It was a 2-point game with 2 minutes left. Had a chance to extend it to 5. Missed a 45-yard field goal. Just something that you have to make to win games. Seahawks drove down, managed the clock perfectly to field goal as time expired to go to their 4th straight
Yeah,
in OMFL Bowl.
crazy.
I think it's their fourth straight, and trying to make it a four-peat. It should be interesting to see who comes out of that Jets Dolphins game. Um, either Mo versus Mo V2, or is Kevin finally gonna realize the aspirations we all had for Kevin? We all to get this far, and it'll be fun to see either one of these matchups.
Maniac, let's go to you. Give me your 2 picks to make it to OMFL Bowl season 79, and then who wins the whole thing.
Well, I'm gonna go. I'm rooting for Kev. He's been there. He's every season he's pushed and pushed and pushed, and he's gone through a lot of what you would say adversity with his team and stuff. He's had a lot of issues with his teams last couple seasons, and he's put it all together this season. And I'm expecting to see him representing the AFC side in the OMFL Bowl 79. And obviously, we know who's going to be there for the NFC, the Seahawks, them and those. And Mo, man, he has always has. And for the prediction for the game, I'm gonna say, and I'm gonna just buck up against the trend here, and I'm gonna say that Kev comes out with a shocker against Mo, and brings home his first OMFL Bowl championship.
Well, there you go. Dawson, what do you think? Who's going to make it to OMFL Bowl season 79, and who wins the whole thing?
Yeah, like everybody was saying, Jets Mo, he just he can just get things clicking right at the right time. During this season's playoffs and last season's. I want to go with another Mo versus Mo V2. I won't be shocked if Kevin does come out with a win, because with the same division they have played twice, and I can't remember. I want to say Kevin did beat him. I'm not sure if it was the computer or if it was. So he does have a chance, and but I'm gonna go with another. I guess kind of like the NBA Finals. Just the same teams over. But I'm gonna go with Mo versus Mo, and Seahawks Mo will get his 4-peat. We're dynasty, and in week 17, and he plays backups, and he still beat me by a touchdown. He could have scored, whatever, and he just kept running the ball. And I mean, I was glad it was over with, because I just couldn't do anything with that offensive line. He could just average very. It couldn't do anything. So. But saying that, I just think he's got that team. He's built that team up the whole cycle, and only way that he can lose in the Super Bowl is if he gets greedy, and if he starts, trying to be flashy and starts trying to, throw to the speedy receivers, or rely on his passing. Because really, I mean, then there's no stopping him.
All right, D-Wayne, give us your predictions. Who makes it to OMFL Bowl season 79, and who wins the whole thing?
Well, I think both guys made real good points. I think if you look at the Dolphins and Jets matchup, I think you got a quote-unquote a flashier team and the Jets who play a flat all around, just a flashier team. And I look at Kevin as more of I always call him an NFC South team. Because he just plays hard defense. He has a really good defense. He wants to establish the run, but he will take shots deep. And I think that's what gets him to the OMFL Bowl this year. I think that his conservative and better front seven all around, because Kevin doesn't have to put 8 guys in the box to stop the run. He can stop the run with those 4 guys in the front without when he's on. And I think Kevin's only obstacle is getting over himself. I think if Kevin gets down early, then I think Kevin starts just – I think if he just stays engaged, with no disrespect to Mo Deli and all the good things he did this year, I just think that it's the Dolphins' year to take the AFC. And then you go to the OMFL Bowl, and now you have Kevin versus Mo. And, I want to go with the Cinderella. I want to go that Kevin's going to take it. I think if he can win the AFC championship game, I think the momentum's going to be riding high. I think he's got faith in it. Kind of like what, Dawson said about the Seahawks. Especially if you stop the Seahawks early and stop a few runs, make him throw the ball. And that's what kept me in the game in the NFC Championship. Will to start the game. He couldn't run. He tried to pass. That's the only reason I stayed in the game, was that I just kind of neutralized him just for a little bit. But Mo can turn any play into a touchdown, either if he's
Yeah.
from the 1 yard line or he's the opposite one. He can turn anything. But I do think if Kevin can keep his head, just keep it down, and withstand that Seahawks storm early, and just play his defense, I think that he can pull off the upset and he can get his first OMFL championship.
All right, I just want to apologize one more time for the feedback that you guys are getting. Not quite sure where this is coming from. We had it fixed right before the show, but it has reared its ugly head. We may go back to Skype. I'm thinking this might be a Discord issue, so we might go back to Skype and see if that solves our problem for our next show. There's going to be a lot more to talk about over the next month, even with our season being over. Let's talk about stats. Let's talk about player awards and talk about who do we think is going to win this whole thing. And so let's go ahead and just talk about it. We're going to start with Dawson. Give me your Rookie of the Year on offense, your Rookie of the Year on defense, your Offensive Player of the Year, your Defensive Player of the Year, and your MVP. Now, these awards will come out on Monday afternoon. Colin is out on vacation or gone for the weekend, and so as soon as he gets back, he'll make sure that those are up. But who do you think is going to win these awards now that Season 79 is just about over?
Yeah, statistically, the offense kind of fell compared to the last few seasons from what I kind of gathered, especially on offense. But I start off with the Offensive Rookie of the Year. He's from the Colts, C.J. Cross. He's more like a speed back. He kind of uses him as the way the owner, Dritch, I guess that's his name.
D-Money.
But he used him more or less as the kind of like those speed receivers, those sweeps, those jet sweeps. And I played him earlier in the season. He caught me two times on those type of plays, and had him. I think it was a receiving touchdown and a running touchdown. So he kind of used him in different areas of the game, and took advantage of his speed. And I felt, based off the other rookies. I think my quarterback, Jared Cannon, was leading or second place in passing, but he had awful numbers as far as the interceptions, completion rates, and wins. So I'm going to go with C.J. Cross, 44 receptions. He had over 1,000 yards receiving and up to 9 receiving touchdowns. And I counted at least 3 rushing touchdowns throughout the season. Could have been more, just the way when he kind of utilized him on his offense. Defensive Rookie of the Year, it wasn't. I didn't really see any numbers out there like we have in the past. At least for rookies. But I'm gonna go with the Buffalo Bills linebacker Keenan Askew. Just kind of looking at he was more of a he was there. It was always, he could do everything. He had 54 tackles. He had right at 6 sacks, 3 interceptions, 1 for a touchdown, and even 3 forced fumbles. So everything. It was all around the ball. That's my vote for Defensive Rookie of the Year. I think there was a few other ones. Dolphins had 1 free safety, O.J. Newman, and he had 40 tackles, 4 interceptions, and I think 3 forced fumbles. So he was up there. I'm not sure if Kevin was kind of started to him or if he just used him as a backup and filled in a few positions. There's a few, like I saw a few in over in the NFC. The Saints had one. Lynn Sims, he was in the defensive player of the year, rookie player of the year in the game. So that he kind of, at least he gave some production up there. I think Rams had another one. Frank Morris, he was a defensive tackle, solid guy. He just didn't have the numbers that the Buffalo linebacker had, was the Askew. Going to the Offensive Player of the Year, like I said, to me, the numbers wasn't really there like they have been. I'm not sure if once we went to all Madden, we had a lot of us had a change and kind of had to focus on the balance offense, in my opinion. So it wasn't like any outlandish numbers. I think Aaron Rodgers led the league in passing, but he didn't make the playoffs. I want to say Todd Gurley came back and got his second Offensive Player of the Year, and just the way he's been playing. He was second in rushing with 1,300 yards, but the first guy was Cormay Melton, and he was the Houston's owner. He's been in and out all through the season, so a lot of his stats have been versus as far as computer.
Yeah.
So went with a owner that was there majority of the season, and that actually produced used Gurley up to what he could go from. But yeah, offensive player of the year, I'm gonna go with Todd Gurley. Defensive player of the year. I just noticed that after looking at the stats that Danielle Hunter out of the Vikings, he led the league with 36 sacks. So in the beginning, we was doing all our aggressive coaching adjustments, and we had those high number of sacks, and then we cut all that out, went to all Madden, and then we had someone to break the record. So
Yep.
Yeah, he's my defensive player of the year. Even though that Bill didn't make the playoffs this year, he ended 9-7. He was really right there, and it was forced. He led. He had a 5-sack lead with the next guy, Charles Harris from the Dolphins. And but with that saying that, MVP, I'm gonna go with Danielle Hunter, just because of 36 sacks. To me, that's pretty out there. I want to say that Bill wasn't using him. Might have a few times here and there, but from what I can remember from what he said before, is that he focuses on the linebackers, and then he might have done Hunter, use the defensive line quite a few times, but that's a pretty high number with us going into all Madden.
And an LSU Tiger, so rub that into my two Arkansas boys. I think we lost somebody, which messed up all of our video here, and I'm gonna have to work on that. So Maniac, while I work on that and we talk, you give me your predictions. Who do you think's gonna win Rookie of the Year on the offense and Rookie of the Year on defense, and then Offensive Player of the Year and Defensive Player of the Year? And we're back. We got D-Wayne back.
D-Wayne. For offensive side, I'm gonna go with C.J. Cross from the Colts, winning Rookie of the Year for the offensive side. He has some really good stats this season, and I got to play against him actually in one game, and he lit me up pretty good. I think he's had like 9 touchdowns on the season and stuff, so it's really good for a rookie. That stood out to me from the offensive side. Others that could have been considered for me for the offensive side was also Rodriguez Robertson from Cincinnati.
Yeah.
He was pretty good as well for them. There wasn't a whole lot to look at from the offensive side for as rookies go. The one guy that on the defensive side that I wanted to look at was the guy from Miami, O.J. Newman. I thought he had a really good season for the Miami Dolphins. 40 tackles, 3 forced fumbles, 4 INTs, and a touchdown. He was a free safety there, drafted first round for the Dolphins. Now moving on to my predictions for Offensive Player of the Year and Defensive Player of the Year. I have to give my Offensive Player of the Year to Gilbert Nixon from the Denver Broncos. The guy was just lights out. I'm trying to pull up his stats here.
And I think I think he was Rookie of the Year. Somebody might be able to correct me. I think one year, I think maybe his rookie year, he was Rookie of the Year and MVP that season. And then the next season, I think he was in the running for MVP.
I believe you're correct. He put up some phenomenal numbers: 86 receptions, 1,845 yards receiving, averaged 21.5 yards a play, and had 20 touchdowns. So, I mean, he put up phenomenal numbers there in Denver. And for me, that's the player winner of the year. And then I have to go on the defensive side. If you notice, a lot of these seem like AFC guys. So but Jamal Elway from the Jets,
Yeah.
he had a really good year. 11 picks, two
Another
forced
LSU
fumbles.
Tiger. Just want to point that out again.
Yeah, yeah, and 5 TDs, 5 touchdowns.
That's unbelievable.
So that, yeah, that's a big that for me. That stat right there. He's half my offense from the Patriots on this season. Uh, so like you got a free safety that can. Oh, that's phenomenal.
All right, Dwayne, give it to me. Give me your rookie offensive player of the year, your rookie defensive player of the year, your offensive player of the year, and your defensive player of the year.
Well, if I had to go offensive, I'll just start with the offensive player of the year first, just because I had him pulled up. Is the Dolphins quarterback Bruce Dahl? If I'm not mispronouncing that.
No, I think you got it.
He just let. I think you could take him that he had 28 touchdowns. He did throw 21 interceptions this year, almost a 97 QB rating with 3,800 yards passing. But he headed that Dolphins resurgence this year, leading them to the playoffs. He's been a steady guy. Kevin's believed in him. He's had some up and downs this year, but I think his stats this year and just what he brought to the table for that Dolphins team, I don't think you can look down on. I think you were talking about, was it Nixon for the Broncos? Was another guy who just put up ridiculous stats. Honestly, I think he almost single-handedly carried the Broncos to the playoffs. They did stumble towards the end. I do think the reliance on him is what the Broncos' downfall was, just because everybody knew where they were going to. But if I had to go with the offensive player of the year, somebody that really stuck to me is I had the stats. He brought everything to the table as Bruce Dahl for the Dolphins. Defensive player of the year. I don't know. It's hard for me. I think I may have missed out on who y'all picked for defensive player. Yeah, not you, Maniac, but for Dawson. But I had to go with Daniel Hunter for the Vikings.
Yeah.
You're talking about a guy who had 36 sacks this year by Daddy League standards, 55 tackles, 1 forced fumble, 1 touchdown. Just playing the Vikings this year, and I know he didn't make the playoffs this year, but everybody knows he played the Vikings. That guy was coming off the end. He was coming in, and majority of the time he was not, that I can speak of, as not user. It was all CPU, was just crushing with that guy, and I just think that as I'm looking at just his overall thing there for the Vikings, I have to go with Daniel Hunter as the defensive player of the year. You go back to the offensive rookie of the year. I'm going to agree with y'all too on C.J. Cross. There's a couple of other good rookies that I looked at that I really considered. There was running back for the Cardinals. I can't remember his name, who had 700 yards and 9 touchdowns. But it's Cross. You're talking about a guy who runs 1,163 yards receiving on 26 yards per catch, 9 touchdowns, 7 rushes for 93 yards and a touchdown. It's hard to argue with that. You're talking about a small guy, almost like I guess he's a little lighter, Austin build, just a little bit skinnier, 5'10", 170, and he's a speed guy. And he's somebody that, if I'm not mistaken, that he's looking at bringing into Madden, the next Madden. It would be interesting to see that guy and see how he adapts to this new Madden. And as we go to the defensive rookie of the year, one guy that really stuck out to me. Now I will give my honorable mention on this one because it was tough, and I had to give that to 0-0 on Bradley Porter, his middle linebacker.
Yeah.
60 tackles, 3 sacks, a forced fumble. He was a really solid hitter. I think 0-0 is really proud of what he got with him. But if I had to go with the pick, it's going to be Keenan Askew from the Bills. I know that Calm is really liked this guy, has really built this guy. 24 years old. He's 6 foot, 236 pounds. He had 54 tackles, 6 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, 3 interceptions, and a touchdown this year. He's on the 15th pick in the draft this year. That's just a guy that you can build upon. He's making plays in his rookie season. For a Bills team that competed night in and night out, and like I said, he was in a tough division with 2 guys that are in the AFC Championship right now in his own division. You got to be proud of that guy, and that guy really stuck out to me as the rookie of the year defensively.
Well, there you have it. We got our playoff predictions. We know exactly we got our picks, we got our awards in. Sorry, I was checking something out. Something looked like it was going crazy on us. But we kind of know how Madden 18 is going to come to a close. And, man, it has been a fun one. A frustrating one at times, I think, for some of us. But this team really all pulled together. Maniac put in tons of hours. I kind of had a little hand in that, trying to figure out settings. And look, you guys hung with me as we tried all Madden, and that had its ups and downs. And so, look, Madden 18 was quite the roller coaster, but we're at the end, and it is over, and Madden 19 is here. And D-Wayne, if you would have been in town, you would have been able to play the beta. I had you a code, but you weren't in town, so I had to give your code away. But I know Dawson got to play it, Maniac got to play it, I got to play it a little bit. And we kind of talked a little bit about what we're excited about. And I think that's what we'll do over the next month, is we'll just talk about the news that we're hearing. What do we remember from actually playing? You know, what can we and can't we talk about? But as we get closer, there are a lot of things that we have to do to get prepared, including the OMFL Hall of Fame, which is all of the players that we feel like are going to go away. So these are not players that are coming over with us. These are players that are usually Madden-generated players that are now going to go away, that we're moving to Madden 19. We wanted to have an opportunity for us to remember those players. I just remember back in the PC days, I drafted this middle linebacker that just had 110 plus tackles every year, 12 sacks, 5 or 6 interceptions. Dude was just a complete stud. And we don't remember anything about him. I just remember he was on the website and like he was a big time player in our league. So we're trying to figure out a way, how can we like memorialize these really good players that you guys draft and work on and become impactful players. And so we created the Hall of Fame. And last year we had 2 inductees, Dwight from the Colts, a wide receiver, Smart from the Cardinals, a defensive end, and both of them are now memorialized. And so we've had some new introductions. Now, all 3 of you know who is going to make it and who is not. We're keeping that hush-hush. That's going to come out on the award show whenever we do that here in the next probably week and a half or so after the playoffs are over. But just give your overall thoughts about the draft class that's been produced and that guys have put out there. What do you think was the strong suits of the Madden-generated players from Madden 18, and what was maybe some weak areas, and just your overall thoughts about the Hall of Fame class? Let's go to you, D-Wayne.
You said you wanted to know about the whole Madden 17 draft class in general, and then the Hall of Fame, guys?
Yeah, just kind of a little bit of mix. The Hall of Fame kind of makes us think back through the draft classes that we all had, the strengths, the weaknesses, the places that they did really well. So just kind of what are your overall thoughts about Madden 18's generated players? And then, what do you think about this Hall of Fame class that guys have put out there? It's probably one of the larger lists of Hall of Fame guys that we've had inducted. At the end of the day, I think that number is going to be about the same as it was last year, but this number overall about players that have been nominated is pretty large. So what do you think about the Hall of Fame class, strengths of that, and then what did you think about the Madden-generated players from Madden 18?
Well, I think the class itself, if you just look at some of the names, we are okay with naming the names, right, Nate?
Yeah.
I think there were six of them, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
You look at some of these names on here that, if you don't mind, I'll just go over the group of guys we got here. You got Tank Forbes, Sean Hamlin, you got Cornell Colombo, Raphael Seiler.
Yep.
I mispronounced that one. Will Kesey and Braxton. You got some names there that ring at ear in people's ears when they hear that. Especially Kesey. I mean, I can't talk about that group without just talking about Kesey in general. The impact that he made on this league. He came in day one and was a stud day one, and he's been a key point for that maybe four-peat that the Seahawks are going for. He could be a part of that. I think this will be his 4th year, so he's been a Super Bowl champion every year he's been here. It's a pretty good percentage, if I'm not mistaken. But this class in general has some people. I mean, you look at Leak, if I'm not mistaken, this is he came from Madden 17.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. I think he's an import, so he's been here like Forbes for a little bit, and Hamlin. I think all 3 of those guys were imports.
All 3 of them, and I think you can look at Hamlin and Forbes, and you know firsthand Forbes is a guy that you knew when you played the Saints, who you had the key on. Luckily, for the craziest reason, I know Nate's not going to be happy about that, but Forbes seemed to get hurt the first or second play every time we played this year. But Forbes is somebody you had to really watch out for. Put up some gaudy stats within a system that didn't, and I know that's something you got to emphasize. Really great stats in a system that wasn't built on throwing for 400 yards a game. You got to look at that compared to somebody like Kesey, and I think Mo is going to adapt himself. But Kesey played an air raid offense there for a season or two that was to get him the ball. And I think Forbes, if you look at compared to that, Forbes got his stats within a system. And then that's because Kesey could probably do that. But then you look at somebody like Braxton Leak, who has been a stud here for 2 Maddens, and has been the head of that Bears defense, who has always been underrated. Outlaw, if he didn't bring nothing to the table in a game, nothing offensively, he was going to be a defensive guy who would hold you to where you weren't going to just have an offensive juggernaut game against him. You could go over any of these guys. I know as a Maniac, I can probably speak on Colombo. Colombo is an irritating guy to play against for play. But if you would just talk about this draft class as a whole, I think I say draft classes, Madden generated draft classes. I think it really emphasized speed. If we could talk about anything else, that you were going to get speed out of these drafts. Guys got some. I mean, the fastest guys are generated guys. That maybe except for 1 or 2. I think Tyreek Hill and maybe. And I can't think of John Ross is from the Bengals. Maybe them 2. But other than that, you look at the Seahawks. Their 2 star receivers are both man-generated guys. The stud down in Denver is a man-generated guy. I think you just got to look at that this Madden 18 generated thing, putting out some really impactful players, put out some really good ones. But I do think they emphasize speed, and I think that's all around. I think Massimo and the Cowboys have like a 96 or 97 who is a stud. But I think as a whole, this whole generate thing, speed was your number one thing people look for. I think some guys got some really good offensive lines, which I know offensive lines aren't necessarily hard to build. I mean, offensive line players per se. But they put out some really good players right off the bat. And I think Dawson could touch on, they put out some quarterbacks that were very impactful, that made some statements. I mean, you look at the quarterback who made was it season 2 of last season that he played was really good. You look at this season, he's got another rookie who played half the season for him. Dawson's got a rookie who played for him. And I don't want to forget about Buckley, the receiver from the Bengals, who is kind of like Kesey's stepbrother.
Yeah.
Because him and Kesey were right there next to each other for seasons, and Kesey just kept going and played a great player. He just never took that, that Randy Moss step to be the best of his generation type player like Kesey was. But as a whole, I think guys should be. I don't think anybody ever complained about the quality of players we got in drafts. I think we had some really solid drafts, and I'll let these other 2 good-looking gentlemen touch on that.
Dawson, what do you think about the Hall of Fame class for Madden 18?
Yeah, it's some those 6 players. I think, like you said, 2 of them were imports from last year. So all 6 of them are highly talented players. They really top 5 in their core the positions. We won't announce the winners in a couple weeks. We'll announce the Hall of Fame winners. And overall, I think the strength is just that, like I said, there has been a top performer all through the cycle. Even through the 2 imports, there was dominating last Madden. Then we imported them over, and they're still dominating. I want to say about the weakness. I guess we can't vote all of them in, so of course we would have to go through there and I guess key out and see which ones are more worthy, which ones the players, and we'll go from there. But overall. As far as the Madden generated players throughout the cycle, like Dakota was saying, it was all about speed, and it was all about speed in certain positions, and it was mostly receivers. So you figure that they will put a lot of speed in receivers. They put some speed in the defensive backs, but that wasn't necessarily the case all of the drafts. I think there's a few good ones early on, and you might can grab a raw skilled player and then develop them into, I guess, their zone coverage, awareness, and such things like that. But if they have the speed, then you can build them up. That might be something, looking at Madden 19, how we do the XP, because that's going to change down the road. Overall, I think it was good. I guess my experience from quarterbacks, I had drafted two quarterbacks. My first one was the first draft, and that was probably my best draft because that's when I drafted my quarterback, the Heisman or the superstar running back, Sherrod Moon, and a superstar offensive line. So and the fullback. So all four of them was my core pieces. I just never could get the ball and I'm going each season. I'm really bad throwing the ball. So my quarterbacks didn't get the XP like they should have. And then going into my last season, I had to rely on my rookie quarterbacks throughout the whole season because Dobbs was hurt. And to me, there was pretty. It's balanced. Not much you can, I guess, expect from a rookie quarterback, and you can't really XP train them unless they're meeting their weekly goals. And of course, mine wasn't. So the potential could have been higher than what they were, especially my first quarterback, Riley Belanca. I'm not even sure where he's at in the league.
He's over. He's over in New Orleans.
Oh, he is. Oh, yeah. He was a solid guy. Just never could get the XP going, and that's just kind of was downfall for my part. Receivers, like I said, the speed was really there. You can pick somebody that's projected undrafted receiver, and make him to a all-pro receiver by the end of the season. That's just because of their talents, or their speed, their acceleration, which is able to take advantage of that. Just the way the cycle. Offensive line, like the coach says, there's always going to be some key offensive line, and maybe this will change up for Madden 19 the way you build an offensive line, but there's really only some key attributes to focus on. So that's going to change up a little bit. It was a good draft. There was a few hiccups, a few drafts later down the road where there's no defensive backs that that would have been worthy enough. Or have been good enough to use a first-round pick on us that much. At least in my experience, I could have been wrong with that, but overall, it's been good, and it'd be interesting to know who all gets in, and especially with all these import players, how many of them are importing their speedy receiver just for, I guess, a insurance, hanging on and waiting for that first draft into Madden 19 and see what kind of draft we're expected to have.
Maniac, what do you think about this Hall of Fame class and just overall the players that were generated from Madden 18?
I apologize. This was actually the first time I looked at the Hall of Fame submissions and stuff, and there are some very good names on here and stuff, and being able to choose from these guys is going to be extremely hard. One guy that Dwayne had touched on, stuff that I had already had been thinking about, was Colombo from the Giants at defensive end. When I was running the Cowboys and stuff, that guy was an absolute thorn in my side. I couldn't run on his side. I couldn't throw unless I had extra protection on that side. It was insane. I know Pepper hates my guts because he couldn't seem to get over the hump against me in a game and stuff, but he doesn't know how extremely hard he was to play with that type of player on his team. And that guy right there stands out because obviously I got to play him a lot. And the other one I'm going to speak of is Kesey. The very first season in the OMFL in Madden 18, I did make it to the playoffs. I believe I made it to the championship game, and I played Ducks, but I also played the Seattle Seahawks, which was the only game that I beat Mo in this cycle, and it was a very close game and stuff. But then came Kesey, and the next year Mo just lit it up with Kesey, and it was impossible to keep up with the guy. He was always open. You could double team him, and seemed like post route, comeback route, curl route, slant route. He was open. He was there for him. And to have that type of player, on your team where, he's getting open for you no matter what is a tremendous plus for a guy. And it had a lot to play into for Mo's success. I think going into the 4 seasons now. So, but the list in its entirety and stuff, it's extremely good. I'm glad to see this stuff. I mean, you got guys like Lee and stuff from the Bears. Outlaw did a tremendous job with him, actually bringing him over from Madden 17 into Madden 18, and still just kind of continued on with his legacy and stuff. And I think he's an extremely good player to have on this list as well. And I think for as the Hall of Fame deal and stuff, I like this as a CFM guy. It brings some interaction and stuff with the community and the guys, and you kind of have something to build your player for and stuff. I haven't had, I guess, the great draft to have one of these guys come up in and stuff. So this is something that I'm going to push towards in Madden 19 to see if I can get one of my guys into the Hall of Fame. I think it's a tremendous deal. And as far as the draft classes in Madden 18, I thought they were a lot better than Madden 17. I think Madden 17 was really kind of a lot of hit and miss and stuff. There definitely was speed in the draft. You could find it in the latter rounds and stuff, and you could actually get a guy later and build him up through XP and stuff, and to be a really solid core player for your team and stuff. One guy that and this is what Dawson had talked about, the position was the cornerbacks were kind of really slim pickings, especially those top tier guys and stuff to go against all the. It seemed like the wide receivers was really rich in Madden 18. One guy that I was thinking about was Mo with Battles. He found a gem with that dude, and I think he got him in the same draft, the draft after or the draft before his wide receiver and stuff. But those two guys just helped drive his team. I mean, we're talking about. I think altogether he had like he's got like something like 20 something picks, I think, interceptions and stuff. A guy that can shut down one side of the field, and if there's anybody that you want to model to go after in a draft, you want to get a Battles guy. You want to get that London Battles guy and get him on your team and help secure your defense and stuff. I mean, he built him up into a beast. The two or three games that I played Mo after he got Battles and stuff, I had to stop looking to that side of the field because it was an instant interception, and I'd be sitting there. I'd throw the ball like, you stupid, not to throw to that side. Pick, interception, touchdown, or just game change player. And those are the type of players that I'm interested in seeing. In Madden 19, see where that comes in with the draft classes and stuff. I think overall, though, Madden 18 did pretty good with their drafts and also provided us with good players, to play around and build going into extra seasons and stuff. So.
Yeah, I think the one position that was the weakest was tight end, even weaker than cornerback, closely followed by cornerback, and I think, in my opinion, closely followed by offensive line, which was not great, and then defensive line, which again was not great. You didn't have those players. The Seahawks had a couple of them, but most of us normal people did not have that really dominant defensive line like you used to see back in Madden 17. Now we're bumping up on an hour, so I want to get to two quick more things and then put a bow on this and get you guys out for your Sunday. But there have been some things that we're talking about changing as we move into Madden 19. I think that we're excited to roll out some new things, some things that we're super excited about. So on a future show, we will get the details and we can talk through Pro Bowl. We're going to have a new Pro Bowl of some sort, whether it's a Pro Bowl or all offensive team or all OMFL team, like something like that, where the league will be able to vote and you guys will get awarded XP for first team, XP for second team. We're kind of tossing a bunch of ideas around, but we're looking for more ways, like Maniac said, to get you engaged and give you an opportunity to really buy into what we're doing here. If you go check out the website, I got it up on the screen now, grownfolksoc.com. At the bottom of the page, you'll see an OMFL logo. You can click that, and that'll bring you to a little bit of a web page. We just have like an About Us section, the greatest games, which I think is almost up to 50 games right now. The Hall of Fame list is also up there. The past champions are up there. So a lot of fun stuff that's up there that if you don't go check out, you should go take a moment and check out. Again, it also kind of lists a little bit about our history, where we started, how we got here. I think just as the founder of all this, I think one of my biggest regrets is that we don't have the entire history from 2001. We have some kind of bits and pieces here and there, but we've really, since 2 Maddens ago, began to really track our history, whether it's in-game season stats, whether it's team stats for a season, whether it's your champions, like all that stuff. We really began to do a much better job of tracking that stuff. And shout out to Colin, because he kind of has taken that back under his wing. Houday was a big component in that whenever he used to be here and helping us get that going. But one of the other changes that we're kind of talking about that we implemented last year that we're going to keep for Madden 19 is when it comes around streaming. If you stream your game, you're asked to keep your stream going after your game and show your stats. Not your stats, my bad. Your settings, your team settings, just to kind of ensure that those things are on the up and up. Ball hawk and all that kind of stuff is off and set to manual when it's ball carrier and all those kinds of things. And I think that one of the other additions that we've kind of rolled out to the board to vote on, but if you kind of go cheat and take a look, it is in the rules, but we've added some things to the incentive list. So we've kind of changed up the incentive list a little bit, but we're trying to find more ways to get you plugged in, to let you earn those points. We've kind of taken away some XP here and there and added some XP here and there. XP is going to be a new thing that we have to figure out for Madden 19. It's completely different. It's done differently. And so those XP, now that you have control over where you put them, are going to be even more worthy of you earning those points. When you earn that XP in our league because of the incentive program, like, you get to pick where those go, whereas in the game, you're not going to get to pick. You just get to pick an archetype, and it's going to randomly do some things. It's going to add in some new twists that we got to figure out, because now the archetypes will automatically upgrade your speed and those other attributes that as a league we said no, you can't upgrade those. We're going to keep those kind of caps, so to speak, on the XP that you can earn outside of just the in-game stuff, so that will still be in play. But just a lot of really fun things. And the most important, and we're going to get you three your thoughts on this, and then we're going to close it up, the imports. That is kind of one of the things that we do here that people look forward to the most. Man, Outlaw's been talking about it for 6 seasons now, it seems like. You know, he was looking season 1 to draft an import. Like, it's like, all right, Outlaw, you got plenty of time, buddy. But Outlaw loves those imports. It's one of my favorite things that we do here. We're going to have to figure some stuff out. There is some new attributes in Madden 19 that we're going to have to kind of create and come up with. So this won't be a perfect solution, but we still want to keep it going. What are your kind of one tip that you would give somebody as they think through their imports? As soon as the season is over, we're going to announce a date, and I will start taking videos of your player. Wherever the player is when I make that video, that's what we're creating in the new game. You'll know that the video has been made for your player because your post is going to be edited, and I will add the video there because we got to remake all of that stuff once we get into Madden 19. But one tip, one trick that you would tell a new owner to think about as they look at who they're going to import and bring over with them. Maniac, we're going to start with you.
Well, I mean, first off, you want to definitely, with what I look at and stuff, is what type of team I'm going to have going into Madden 19. I know some of the ratings have dropped already, and fortunately, I did have an opportunity to get the game first with you, like with some of you guys and stuff, and got to play the beta, and but I think the ratings are going to drop for the teams, the 9th, which I think is tomorrow. And that, to me, that's going to be very important because, if you see some of the ratings, like I know, like with the Cardinals and stuff, they're getting old in the wide receiver. I know they did get Kurt and stuff in the draft, but I'm taking my wide receiver over that I drafted this season over to the Cardinals. And, that's going to give me a little bit of flexibility because Fitzgerald's probably going to either retire or he's going to want a big hefty check at the end of the season, and the guy's got like 83 speed or something like that. so he's long in the tooth, and he's going to be retiring. So now I'm going to have the flexibility of having this guy. He's going to have 3 years left on his contract. He's got quick development and stuff to go along with some of the other young guys I'm going to have there with the Cardinals, and I should have a good wide receiver group. So to me, I think the best thing is to look at the type of team that you got, look at your weak spots, and go from there. Sometimes you may have that one guy that's that superstar safety that you can't pass up, and say, well, I got to bring him over, even though you got 2 other good safeties on that team. Now you got trade bait, and you can update your other parts of your team that may need to update.
That might have been a shot at me since I was asking for some tips. But then again, Dwayne, he's a big safety guy, so I'm going to go ahead and pass the buck on him. Dawson, one tip, one trick that you would tell an owner to think about when he thinks about his import?
Well, I need some tips myself because I really don't know what would be a good avenue for. So I just went with a linebacker that I've been kind of focusing all through the season. I got him to quick dev. I was really deciding between him and my rookie quarterback, but the way I played, my XP went downhill, so I couldn't improve him. And then, like you said, well, as of right now, I'm going to play with the Redskins, and with Alex Smith, I'll be good, I guess, at least one season. I mean, then maybe I'm not sure if he's going to retire or not, and then I'll just focus on worry about that down the road. Because I don't want to bring in an import that his contract 1 year or 2 seasons remaining, and have to sign him to a big contract. So that's really not what I want to do. Last year I brought in a offensive line, and I just felt like that was the safest pick, just because it's just the way you can build on the offensive line. And I kind of he's been my day one starter all through the seasons, the cycle. So that it's really been helpful on that part as far as having one of the 5 offensive line spots already filled up, and not have to worry about going out there and trying to build up another lineman. But I went for linebacker just because I just went for a change. There was a few linemen that I was kind of deciding as well, but just based off with like 1 season remaining till the contract is up, I didn't want to mess with that, so I went with a lower overall guy. So once this contract is coming up, I can re-sign him to a longer deal with a cheaper contract. That's not necessarily a tip, but that's just what my strategy is right now. I'm going for the linebacker position. He's got him to quick, and then I can build his XP up. And then once he is ready for re-sign, then I'll offer him a low contract, low amount on that end. I did see one interesting import was. Brady is importing his import, Lyndon Cradis, and he's like
crazy.
31. So by the end of the season, he's walking with a cane. So I don't. I mean, he's a solid guy, great guy, and I'm sure he's gonna be he's gonna have quite a few. I think his contract is really out there too. When he had to try to get him up in free agency. So, I mean, he's a solid linebacker, and there's a few other ones, just the way that we're all who we're kind of going for. Like Maniac said, you kind of look at your roster from the team right now. What's their rosters looking at? Which position is aging? I probably should have looked at that more, but I just went with I guess a safe pick as far as the linebacker, and just hopefully I can build up on that.
You guys mentioned something before I go to Dwayne here. If you guys swap teams, please let Bill know. If you kind of agree to a trade, every team is full right now, so there are no teams to quote-unquote swap to. But if you trade teams with somebody, let Bill know. And Bill doesn't know this. He is keeping a running list, but I'm going to ask him to post that running list so that we can just have a running track, because this thing is going to spiral out of control. I'm going to forget who's supposed to be where here pretty soon. I know all 3 of you have swapped teams, so just make sure if you guys are watching this that you work out a trade, that you let Bill know so that he can get that posted. So that we can make sure that happens. And as Maniac said, there are the ratings that are going to drop, I think, Monday or Tuesday. I heard Tuesday, but I'm also hearing Monday now. if those come out and you change your mind on your import, you still have time. But after the Super Bowl, there's no guarantee. After I make that video, you are locked in, and we're kind of moving on because I cannot go back, and it's just too much work. It's a lot of work that goes into that stuff. So, Dwayne, what do you think? One tip, one trick to helping people with imports?
Well, I think you have to weigh the options of, are you feeling a need, or are you just taking your best player available, taking into account age and development and stuff like that. Dawson made a good point, as in, this Madden I brought over import, who was 66 overall. I think Nate actually asked me twice if it was the right one. But when I brought him over, like I said, that first season or two, he was still developing. He played the last 4 seasons as a starter for me and was a big role for me. But like I said, kind of like Dawson said, on the rookie contract, I think for that first year or two. And year 3, he still wasn't a superstar, so I still got him at a pretty reasonable deal while he was developing. That is one way to look at it. You look at, he was talking about Kratos coming from the Jags. Kratos is, if I'm not mistaken, I had it pulled up, is making $23.5 million on his contract right now per season. That's a lot of money for a middle linebacker. Right? But it is the last year of his deal. I don't know how that's going to translate over to the next Madden. I'm sure that'll be something.
Hey, that's a good question. So let's pause, and I'll let you finish your thoughts. So people have been asking me. We will stop after the Super Bowl, so we will not go in to the next year. I just don't want to chance re-signings and all the complication that comes with that, players retiring, all the complications that could come with advancing into the offseason. So wherever they are now, that's what you're getting them in. You're going to get, quote unquote, an extra year with them because they won't age a year and their contract won't age. But if they're in the last year of their contract now, they're going to be in their last year of their contract then. That's another reason, right? I don't want you to overspend after an off season because this team doesn't matter to you because you're not playing with them, and then you get a bargain going into Madden 19. No, whatever you have this year, that's what you're going to take them at. So that's a good question. But finish your thoughts.
So if you were saying with Kratos is going to be making $23.5 million the first year next Madden.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's something to think about. And Brady, if you watch this, that's something to think about. As much as Kratos is, first off, he has an awesome Kratos. That just sounds awesome. But he is a scary middle linebacker. But something that I looked at, everybody knows. I think it can go with that being said. I love safeties. I love hard-hitting safeties. My import will be a safety. I ain't decided yet if it's going to be a 28-year-old safety that's already built that I can just plug in, or if it's going to be a young guy that needs to develop. But it is something to weigh that if you know what team you're going to, or you're set in stone, are you feeling a need? Because we know what they drafted in real life. You kind of got a good gist of what that team's going to look like. Are you going to feel a need on your team, or are you just bringing the best possible player over? Or are you going to bring a trade bait over? It's something to think about. Or you bring a 96-speed receiver that you might build up for a year and use him for first-round trade bait. Mo, don't take that advice. You don't need any more first-round picks. But that is something to think about. I mean, there's a lot of factors that weigh in on what you pull over. 99% of people aren't bringing a 65 overall safety over. That's just something I had in my head. I like that guy. He had, his hit power was not. He was going to be my starter safety in a season or two. But if you want to bring a more ready player over, you're going to pay for it money-wise. But that day one of Madden 19, he'll be starting, and he'll be ready to go. That's just something you got to weigh, bringing your import over.
Yep, lots of stuff, and we've got almost a month and 2 days that we can do podcasts. So we'll have at least 3 or 4 podcasts that come out before we get to Madden 19. We'll have plenty of time that we can talk through. One of the things I want you guys to think about is that I want to talk through, player building strategies. I want to talk about offensive strategies, defensive strategies. I just think that this is a really unique time that we could do some stuff that we've never done before. And then Maniac and I are kind of talking through doing some type of launch party on the 10th. I may be able to either take off a whole day or maybe half a day that day and do some kind of, at least maybe start at noon and go until my wife tells me to get off, and then we can come back later that night and go some more. But we do plan on doing some type of launch party. As you can see, I thank you guys for putting up with the pop-in and the laggy video. Look, we're trying some new things, and this is going to take a little bit to figure out. I'm working with pretty limited. I have a really nice Mac laptop, but at the end of the day, a laptop is really hard to do all of this stuff on because of the video card situations. But look, we're trying to step up our game here. We're trying to give you guys some great content, and these three guys with me are trying to help produce some of that content. So stay tuned. I've got lots of ideas. They've got lots of ideas. Lots of really fun things are coming. We are well over an hour now. I'm pretty sure I can feel the burning from my wife's eyes right now. I may even try to sneak out the pool if it's not raining. So thank you guys for spending some of your Sunday with me, for being on video. Dawson, you're frozen. You've been frozen for about 15 minutes here, but that's totally okay. I even had to turn mine off a few times. It just like lots of look, we're trying some new things, so I appreciate you guys hanging in there with us. Make sure you give us a like and a follow on our YouTube page. Stay with us. New stuff is coming, and it will get better. We'll get this stuff figured out. Make sure you give us a follow on Twitter. Make sure you look at our website. If you're looking at our community, we have all kinds of games. H1Z1 is blowing up. OMFL 2 is going strong. Still taking applications for coaches for that, for Madden 19. Coach mode is still going really well. NBC is still hot and ready to go. The wrestling league's going. FIFA Pro Team has kind of made a comeback here. So lots of really fun things, lots of big things going on. Make sure you check us out. Give us a follow and come play some games with us. Guys, thank you again for being with us on a Sunday. The next show we'll plan out and kind of talk some strategy and kind of give some tips and tricks and let you guys share some of the strategies that you're kind of hiding secret and see if we can't help everybody pick up their game a little bit. Hey, until next time, we'll see you. Peace.
Yeah. Later, guys.